Hello everybody, this is Cesar, and today I was going to adjust the truss rod of my PRS SE, so I thought to shoot a short video. An advice, this is not a video for someone who already knows how to do this, so you can perfectly skip it, don't watch it. It's a very basic video, but I thought that probably some people could benefit from that. We will talk about truss rod adjustment, we will talk about dual action truss rods, and we will talk about some more things that you need to know when you are going to adjust the truss rod of your guitar. So hold on for a second. So first of all, let's take a look to the tools that you will need. So you will need a screwdriver. Well, here we have several. It's a set that you can change the head of the screwdriver, right? In order to remove the plate of the truss rod. In our case, the PRS has the truss rod covered by a plate, right? So we are going to remove it with the screwdrivers. You will need the right truss rod wrench. This is the specific wrench for the guitar. And it is very important that you use the right one, because if not, you can damage the truss rod nut, and then you are going to have an issue. You are going to need a capo. Here we have two, so we are going to use the old, the good old soup, right? And you are going to need filler gauges. There are people who do this with, a business card or something like that by eye, with the eyeball. I fully recommend you to buy a set of filler gauges. It's $5 in any hardware store, and it's going to give you a better sense of what you're doing. So those are the must-haves. Now, a nice to have is the notch straight edge. I never use the notch straight edge when I adjust the truss rod. I do it usually when I'm leveling the frets, whatever. But there are people who like to look at the relief with the notch straight edge. Well, fine. We are not going to use it in this small exercise. It is just a nice to have. And for me, as I say, it adds much more value when we do some other things in our guitar. Now let's talk about the different truss rods and what they do. Well, now imagine that this is the neck of your guitar, right? And it's perfectly straight. Imagine that it's perfectly straight. This is the nut, and this is the bridge, okay? So this is the nut, this is the bridge, this is the neck of your guitar. It's perfectly straight, right? Then, in a situation like this, when you put the strings on your guitar, you ideally are going to create a little bit of an up bow. An up bow. And this is good, because this is going to create distance between the strings and your neck, the strings and the fretboard. This is what we call relief. This is what we call relief. Then, the problem is when this is too much, right? If you have a lot of an up bow, what is going to happen is that your action in this part of the fretboard is going to be very high, it's going to be very uncomfortable to play, and you are going to get out of intonation for sure. Then, if this happens, if you have too much of an up bow, too much relief, what you need to do is you need to tighten the truss rod. You need to turn the truss rod wrench to the right. You need to tighten your truss rod in order to help the neck to go, closer to be straight, to reduce the relief that you have here. On the contrary, sometimes even with the strings on, you have a back bow on your guitar. And when you have a back bow, what is going to happen is you are going to have a lot of fret buzz here, right? And you have a back bow, you need to loosen the truss rod. You need to turn your truss rod to the left. It's very easy to remember. Righty is tighty, lefty is loosey. Now, there are two types of truss rods in the guitars, installed in the guitars. The dual action truss rods and the normal, the one action truss rod, the one-way truss rod, or the two-way truss rod. We also call the two-way truss rod the dual action truss rods. Now, what is the difference? The difference is that in a guitar that has installed a single action truss rod, a one-way truss rod, When you lose the truss rod, there is a point in time where you cannot lose it more, right? You cannot force up bow to your guitar, right? Because once it's totally loose, the truss rod does not work in that direction. And this is what a dual action truss rod is going to help you. Sometimes when you have conditions like too much of a back bow and you're trying to correct it, loosening the truss rod to create an up bow, but it's not enough, and you keep on having fret buzz, when you have a dual action truss rod, you can force additional back bow. This is why I like much better the dual action truss rods. How can you know what type of truss rod your guitar has? Well, first you may ask where you bought the guitar, but usually old guitars, vintage guitars are going to have a one-way single action truss rods for sure. Most of the Gibsons, even the modern ones, have single action truss rod, one-way truss rods. Fender is putting now dual action truss rods in all their guitars. PRS has always had dual action truss rods, well, in probably the very, very early years, no, but now they have. Carvin has dual action truss rods too. I much rather prefer the dual action truss rod, right? Now, a friendly advice, if you buy your guitar on eBay, make sure that you have a way to know if the truss rod works. If sometimes there are people who are selling guitars with the truss rod broken, with broken truss rods. If that is the case, you are going to buy a guitar that you are going to have tough time in order to set it up, right? So make sure that you have a way to check if you can, if the truss rod is working. Finally, why do I know I need to adjust the truss rod in my guitar? It's very simple. If you have not changed anything on your saddles, the height of the saddles is exactly the same that it was, right? The guitar was playing okay, but now the guitar starts having fret buzz, which has been my case with my SC, who has been in her case for more than 3 weeks without being played, right? What happens is that sometimes because of temperature or because of humidity changes, the headstock moves, the neck moves. The neck moves and it can create a back bow or it can create a little bit of an up bow. In our case, I'm sure that we have a little bit of a back bow, and this is why we are having a lot of fret buzz. Without touching anything in the saddles, if you start having fret buzz, you would need to adjust your truss rod. So now, the first thing you need to know is how to access the truss rod on your guitar, and mostly there's 2 ways of doing that. In some guitars, the access to the truss rod is here, right, on the headstock, right. Some guitars have it open, right, and some guitars have it covered by a plate, which is the case in the PRS, right. In Gibsons, for example. Some Fenders have the access open, like most of the Stratocasters, the modern ones, right? And in some other guitars, you have the truss rod at the neck, where the neck meets the body, at the joint between the neck and the body. I will show you, for example, now a Telecaster. Right? So if you look here, you may see that here is the access for your truss rod in this vintage 52. So some guitars have the access to your truss rod here, right? It's a little bit more difficult than to adjust, right? Because in some of them you have to take the pickguard off, in some of them you have to take the neck off the guitar, right? But basically those are the main 2 locations of truss rods, here, right? And at the headstock, like our PRS. Okay, now that we have identified how to access the truss rod, let's take our screwdriver, right? And simply let's get the cover off. Very simple, right? Take off the cover and keep it in a safe place, okay? And hopefully you can see there the truss rod nut, right? Now what we are going to do is we are going to take our wrench, the right wrench, right? The right truss rod wrench, and we are going to put it between the third and the fourth string, right? And we are going to engage. You see, it engages perfectly the truss rod nut. Now, let's see if the guitar had any relief before we start adjusting. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to measure if the neck has any relief before we start adjusting, right? The idea is the next one. Here you see all the filler gauges, right? So there's a set of filler gauges. There are many measures in the filler gauges. So I always use in my guitars 0.25 to 0.30 millimeters, which basically, if you're operating in inches, is around 11 thousandths of an inch. You can check in your specs if you want to basically get the same specs than the factory. You go to the web page of your guitar and you check what is the ideal relief. I like 0.25, 0.30, which is around 11 thousandths of an inch, okay? And now what we are going to do is we are going to put the capo at the first fret. And now that you have the capo on your first fret, you are going to press where the neck meets the body, at the fret where the necks meet the body. And we are going to check with the filler gauges at the 7th and 9th fret, and we are going to see if the filler gauge does squeeze between the fret and the bottom of the string. So, as we said, what we are going to do is we are going to press the body fret, the fret where the neck meets the body, and we are going to try to squeeze our filler gauge, right? And as you see, in order for the filler gauge to go through, it needs to push up the string big time. So clearly there's no relief at all. If we try with the 0.3, look, does not fit. I mean, in order for the filler gauge to fit, it has to push up the string big time, right? So what we need to do, because we don't have any relief, is to loose the truss rod, right? Lefty, loosey. So we will need to turn the truss rod to the left. And now we are going to see how we are going to do that. So now we have to turn the truss rod to the left, so we will move the wrench to the left. Advice, do it slowly. Don't do it brutally. Do it in quarters of a turn, more or less. I know for experience that the truss rods of the PRSs are very sensitive, and particularly speaking, the neck on the SEs is very thin. So a slight move in the truss rod basically offers enough relief. Anyway, we are going to turn the truss rod to the left, okay? And as you see, it does it nicely, right? If you find resistance when you have to tight the truss rod, when you have to move it to the right, my advice is move it first to the left and then try to the right. If the resistance you find is very big, try to put a drop of foil, right? 3-in-1, lubricating the truss rod. And if even so the resistance is really very big, probably your truss rod is a little bit messed up, so you will need probably to take your guitar to a professional in that case, okay? So we have moved the truss rod to the left, and we are going to check again now if our filler gauge in this case goes through the space without pushing up the string. So same operation, we press where the fretboard meets the body, right? And we check the relief underneath the string 7th fret, 9th fret. We are going to do it with the 0.25. Goes much better, but still is tight. If we try with the 0.30, does not push up the string, but is still, in my opinion, tight. So we are going to give it a little bit more of a turn. Okay, so here we go. Very good. It moves nicely and slowly. And then we are going to check again if we have now enough relief in our neck. So we do the same operation, pressing where the fretboard meets the body, and we are going to go with our feeler gauge. And as you see, in this case, the feeler gauge goes nicely and smoothly underneath the strings. Well, now that we have offered enough relief to our neck, right? The next step would be to need to pitch again, and then to see if there is still any fret buzz, and then is when we are going to operate on the saddles, right? It's where we are going to adjust the height of the different saddles. But we will do that in a different video. I hope you have enjoyed this little exercise. I encourage you to do it yourself. I encourage you to adjust the truss rods of your guitars yourself, because it's not difficult, and if you do it right, you can never manage your guitar. Well, see you in the next video, and up to then, please don't forget to have fun and don't forget to play your guitars. See you very soon. Bye.